at the root of his own nature. This means, of course, that the calming of the mind is of the greatest importance. The individual who is constantly agitating his thoughts with negative attitudes is not going to have this calmness. But quietude, which was, of course, the basic religious concept of what were called the Quietists, which included the Friends and the Quakers and a number of Oriental sects, this quietude is an expression of the term, "Be still and know that I am God." Instead of worrying, the stillness helps. Stillness is not an escape from worry. It is an internal realization that there is something deeper, more valuable, more useful, and more beneficial than worrying. It is worrying that is locking us away from our own inner lives. All the criticism and condemnation and irritation, no matter how much we believe it to be deserved, is simply cutting out our own internal experience. The more we fix upon outside problems, the less time and energy we have to release internal strength. So one of the simplest things that the worrier can try to do, if he is so minded, is to take on interests that break in on the worry pattern, doing things that are maybe not important physically, but are very important as release of understanding and insight. The studies of arts and crafts, the experience of doing things with the hands, these are very valuable to the person whose mind is troubled all the time. The individual cannot divide his energies equally on two different levels simultaneously. Therefore, if you can't do anything better when the times get pressureful, just sit back quietly and knit. Anything to use a power to separate the person from negative thinking. If you have to keep your mind on something else, this helps. Poetry is of a good nature, is a great help in these pursuits. A very fine inspirational literature can help. Not necessarily a highly advanced intellectual study of the universe, but simply gentle quietude. Poems that reach into the heart of things, that bring gentle messages of peace and contrition to the tired person. But whatever it is, gradually educate your mind until you are able to tell it, I want you to see the good in things. I want you to observe progress. Now, in seeing the good in things, we do not want the mind to find good in the things that have never been any good. We do not want the mind to go back to its old habits. To see the good in things for the average person is to realize that an experience is meaningful, and that out of the things that happen we grow, and that a misfortune is not a blight upon us, but a challenge upon our resources. To accept the challenge of growth, we must avoid the tendency to try to escape growth by economic means or by travel or by change which has no direct bearing upon the facts. If you can achieve a certain amount of peace within your own nature, you can then begin to re-educate yourself. It may take some time because you may not be able to just re-educate everything at once, because you may have to re-educate your background back 3 or 4 generations to get at the root of some of it. Your families have been made up of worriers. Everyone has struggled for something that he either didn't get or lost afterwards, or perhaps even more often got it and no longer wanted it. These things you have to work out in your own life. In childhood, in education, in marriage, in relationship with life, business, children, and everything, we have been taught to be concerned in the sense of being irritated. We have been taught to be critical. We have been taught to dislike rather than accept the major occurrences of existence. We consider change a disaster, when no change can be the worst disaster of all. So with these concepts basically working in us, we must try for the beginning of security, and that is a quiet, perspective relationship with life. When something happens that for the last 50 years has caused us to be angry, the best thing to do is to take a deep breath, relax, and keep quiet. Instead of answering back and starting an argument that might go far enough to break a home, just say nothing. Very quietly let the thing die without adding anything to it. Try never to put salt into an open wound. Never try to argue faster or better than somebody else. That is how wars are made, of people out-arguing each other, nations out-arguing each other, each one certain that its ideas are the best and that the other one is wrong. So under doubt, be still. And in the being of stillness, and in the quietude of a complete detachment, try to understand what is really meant, what is all involved in this entire problem. Who is right? Who is wrong? What is the meaning of the occurrence itself? Little by little, if you do it this way, things become symbols of value instead of symbols of loss. By degrees, the individual can gain great insights from the quiet acceptance of life.